friends! Today I wanted to share with you a tutorial on French seams. I know that a few of them exist out there already, but I really wanted to explain the excuses that some people make for not doing a French seam and help you skirt around those excuses. And I wanted to talk to you about the troubleshooting of French seams because there are some things that can go wrong and, you know, there's ways to fix that. So without further ado, let's jump right in and get started. Before I show you a French seam, I want to show you a regular seam, where you just put your fabric right sides together and then stitch in a line along the edge of your fabric. This of course will leave you with a nice pretty seam line on the outside and an inside that has raw edges. However, for a French seam, you're going to take your right sides and place them outwards and do a first pass of a seam, cutting your seam allowance in half. So if you have a 1/2 of an inch seam allowance, you'll only use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance here. I find it helpful to add like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to my garments whenever I'm cutting them out, because that way I don't lose any ease whenever I do this process. Next, you're going to trim your seam allowance as tight to the stitching as you can, careful not to cut into the stitching or cut any of the stitching off. You'll press this seam open as well as you can from both sides, and then you'll fold it in half and press again. This is really important because it helps your final seam to be as crisp as possible. So then what you're going to do is, using the remaining 1/4 of an inch seam allowance that you didn't use for your first pass, you're going to sew a second seam. And one thing that I find helpful is to move my needle from center to as close to the edge of my stitching as possible. This is because it is a whole heck of a lot easier to take ease away than it is to add it after the fact. But I don't want to just show you what the two different seams look like. I want to also show you an experiment about how they hold up in the wash. So I put these two samples in my laundry for every load that I did over the weekend, and then I looked at them. So here are my samples after being washed a handful of times, and you can see this one, it isn't really that beat up. I probably should have washed them a few more times or done this with chiffon or silk or something that would take wear a little bit worse. But, you know, this guy's just fine. It doesn't look pretty, but it's just fine. And like, one thing that I don't like about seams that aren't Frenched, you see how like this part's holding open and this part's pulled over here, and probably part of it would be going in the opposite direction if the seam were any longer. They're unpredictable and they're wiggly and they look odd and they don't hold an iron as well. But this guy, look at him. He's behaving. He's going in exactly the right direction. And I didn't touch this, I just pulled these straight out of the dryer. I think I laundered them 10 times, but like, look at that boy. And for comparison, and again, this actually held up a lot better than I was expecting it to. This fabric was 10-year-old pajama pants, and I really didn't think they would hold up this well. I was hoping to be able to do this big dramatic like ripping of this one, but upcycled materials hold up pretty well. But what good is this technique if it can't accommodate pockets? So basically what you're going to do is attach your pockets first, just like this. You want the pocket to overhang over the edge of your fabric quite a bit, at least a 1/4 of an inch. I try to aim for a little bit more than that. You might have to change the way that your pocket is drafted in order for this to be possible. And then with your fabric side up and your pocket side down, you're going to sew just along the edge of your fabric. You want this seam to be as skinny as possible because it makes pressing it a lot easier. You're going to press the long edge of your flap towards your fabric, just like this, and I would highly recommend going in and hand stitching this under and down, just because it helps your garment look a little bit neater and it helps it last a little bit longer. I will, however, confess that I skip this step quite often and instead just iron it really nicely before stitching, but I would still go in and hand stitch it down if you can find the time or the willpower to do so. And now you're going to pin your fabric with the right sides out and your wrong sides together, making sure that your pocket is pulled tight and there's no weird wrinkles. And for your first pass of the seam, what you're going to do is you're going to stop right at the corner before your pocket. So what I do is I put a pin just right before my pocket starts, and I sew to that line, and then I back stitch and pick up my needle and sew around my pocket. This helps my pocket to turn a little bit nicer whenever I do my second pass, and that way there's no weird pulling or tugging or wrinkles or anything of that nature. And next you're just going to clip your seams as close to the edges as possible, and then you're going to iron everything as nicely and neatly as you possibly can. And then you're going to do your second pass of your French seam using 1/4 of an inch seam allowance if you had a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and using 2/4 of an inch seam allowance if you had 5/8 seam allowance. And after all of that, you should be left with something that looks a little bit like this. You'll want to make sure that you press this final seam as nice as you can, because pressing will affect the look of the final garment. There are 2 problems that you're likely to run into that I wanted to address before sending you off into the world of French seams on your own. And one of them is that sometimes either you cut into your stitches and you develop a hole, or your seam allowance was too slim in one area and your fabric comes unraveled and it creates a hole. And in both of those situations, or really any situation where you have a gap in your first pass of your French seam, you can just go in with a ladder stitch and close that. It is tedious and a little bit unnecessary in most cases, but in other cases it is very necessary, but still tedious. The other problem that you're likely to run into is these little strings from your selvage end. Sometimes your fabric will just be really prone to unraveling, and while you're sewing it, it might have little stringy bits that get in between your stitches. And they look rather horrible, but it really isn't that hard to just take your scissors and get really close to your seam and trim them. And in most cases, you can't even see that they're there. And with thicker fabrics where you would be able to see, oftentimes this doesn't happen. In fact, for this flannel, to give this example, I had to physically pull the strings out before I sewed the seam. But nevertheless, if this happens to one of your projects, I assure you, it is fixable. And for my next trick, I really wanted to come up with a seam that I thought would be borderline impossible to do as a French seam. So I came up with these 2 very extreme angles and this curve here. Curves are a little bit difficult with French seams just because you can't clip them, but with a really good press and a lot of patience, oftentimes you can overcome that. However, even leaving a gap for my corner, I wasn't really able to get it to turn as tightly as I would have liked to. So basically what I learned here is that curves are just fine, but corners don't always come out the prettiest. So if you have an extreme corner, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using a French seam. I would just use a standard seam and hand fell it down, of course. It would be grossly incorrect to say that French seams are the perfect solution for every seam you're ever going to sew. That's just not true. They are, however, very practical for most seams. Some seams, however, that I would not recommend Frenching would be seams with, as I said before, an extreme outward-facing corner, seams that are going to be done in a bulky fabric, seams that are going to be done in a stretch fabric unless you have a 3-step stretch stitch on your machine, and I would also recommend not using them for upholstery just because it does create bulk. But in all other cases, the French seam really is the best solution in my opinion, just because it makes the insides of your garments look so nice. I wore both of these rompers for about a year, and I gotta tell you, one of them looks a lot neater on the inside than the other one. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope that you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next time.